up, everybody? What's going on? How y'all living? How y'all living? Beats and B-sides, deep dive in the Celestial Clockwork. So we doing Live to Die today. This is definitely one of the joints. What up, Ray? This is definitely one of those joints. It's probably actually like one of my favorite, just on some MC, stuff. One of my favorite written songs on the record. The style, the patterns, like this is just one of my joints, one of those joints. And yeah, man. So I'm glad y'all been, checking this out. I'm glad y'all enjoying it. I've been doing some thinking after some input from some friends of mine that I, have weekly strategy meetings with. I want to ask y'all's opinion, So I was thinking, and it was actually suggested by one of my homies, that I do like verses from artists that I, was inspired by. Do a similar thing like this with verses from artists that I was inspired by, like maybe take, Bring It On from Pharoah Monch and kind of break it down and break down the rhyme patterns and stuff like that. Would that be something y'all would enjoy? Maybe, possibly. Yeah. Let me know in the chat if you would enjoy something like that. But yeah, we're gonna keep this joint moving. Yeah, I'm excited to go through this one. I'm excited to go through this one. So yeah, thanks, Ray. I'm glad. Yeah, that's something I'm going to look into and see how I could finagle that, without getting hit with copyright, infringement and all that. But yeah, I'm going to work on that. So, word. So yeah, to start out, what we are going to do. Oh, just to let y'all know, this week is Thanksgiving week. You know what I'm saying? All the Black Friday sales is popping off. You know what I mean? And I got a Black Friday sale. Now, I haven't announced this yet to the public, but it is live. And, Beats and B-Sides fam kind of always gets first dibs, on things. I try to keep it that way. So, for you guys and anybody watching this, what up, Mr. Wack? For you guys and anybody watching this, and I'll probably, announce this a little later as well. But for you guys who are watching this, as of right now, live on illogic.bandcamp.com, there's a Black Friday sale popping off. 50% off everything. 50% off everything in the store, including the Celestial vinyl. Now, I only have about 50 or 60 of them left. So, if you want to get that, you can get that. But everything on the whole store is 50% off through Sunday. So I'm not announcing this until tomorrow to the, to everyone else. But if you're watching this, you get to get a jump, on everybody else. So Black Friday sale popping off. Yeah. So hit that up. illogic.bandcamp.com. You know what I'm saying? What up, Unicron? Yeah, so we going I'm excited about this one. So we're going to get into Live to Die today. Now, Live to Die, just a little background on this song. If you've been watching this, from the beginning, when I started out talking about the record with the first song, The Only Constant, I talked a little bit about how I was battling depression, dealing with, some drug use. And so this song is one of those songs that really shows my mindset at the time, and how my depression was rearing its ugly head in my life. And so Live to Die is a song basically about looking forward to death and being disgusted with life. Just saying that statement is, kind of dark and dismal. But what up, Steven? But that's what this song was. So what I was doing at the time, because I was in such a dark place, I was kind of looking at life like I didn't want to live it anymore, like I didn't want to be a part of existence anymore. And it was very difficult for me because when I was writing this album, I had just lost a girlfriend that had another girlfriend that had cheated on me. Girls keep cheating on me, you know what I mean? But this was my girlfriend throughout most of high school. This was before actually the girl that Lesson in Love and First Trimester is about. This is actually the girl that the song Angel was about on Unforeseen Shadows. And I was with her all through high school. She ended up cheating on me. So I was dealing with that because we were, I was looking at her like she could potentially be my wife. And obviously that did not work out. But so she had broke up with me. I had just gone to Cincinnati for college. And the reason that I went to Cincinnati in the first place, which we'll dive into a little bit on the next song, Stand. But the reason I had went to Cincinnati in the first place was because my biological father is from Cincinnati and all of his family. And during my childhood growing up until I was 13, he was incarcerated. So I had never really got to build a relationship with him. And I only really visited him while he was incarcerated when I was a baby. So I had never really got to see him at all until I was 13 years old when he got out. And, I went down to Cincinnati and hung out with him, got to meet him, stayed with him, I think, for like a week or so. And, so, we had somewhat of a relationship, a little bit, but it wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I thought, because Cincinnati was one of the schools that was offering me a track scholarship, I thought I would go to Cincinnati, build this relationship with my father and be happily ever after. And it didn't work out that way either. I got to school. He came to visit me the first day that I got to school, or that first week. Bought me some tennis shoes, gave me $80, and I didn't see him again for another few years. So that was depressing because the whole reason I was in the city was really for him and not for my education necessarily. But, God always has a plan. And without me going to Cincinnati, I never would have made Unforeseen Shadows or Got Lyrics or Celestial Clockwork. If I would have made it, they would have been different because, I wasn't in that environment and I didn't have all these things coming at me. So I wouldn't have been in the same mindset. It would have been a different, different records, probably different producers. Me and Print would have never got close. I would have never, hooked up with Dibs and got into the whole, Dose One. And, so it was a blessing in disguise, with me going there and being involved with the people that I got involved with, even though I didn't finish school, there. I eventually would get my degree and also my master's degree. So, so Live to Die was one of those songs when I was really in deep as far as the depression and the darkness and how I was feeling about life in general and my life in particular. And so I thought, how would I write about life, how I feel about life right now? And how would I write about death, how I feel about death right now? And so getting into that mindset and getting into those thoughts was very deep, dark, and dangerous, because I was already, slightly suicidal. Not heavily, you know what I'm saying? I never attempted suicide. But the day that I wrote Hate in the Puddle, I was going to commit suicide, and I wrote that song instead. And that song kind of delivered me from that mindset a little. I was still down, but writing that song was my alternative to taking my own life. I used that song as my therapy session in the moment to get me off the balcony. And I actually had a balcony in my college dorm that I was walking home. The story of Hate in the Puddle for a second. I was walking home from Dose's house in the rain. It was one night walking back to my dorm, and I was walking in the rain, and I stopped and looked at my reflection in a puddle. And I don't know what happened over Doses. I don't know if it was just a bad night for me mentally, but I was on my way home, and I stopped and looked at myself in a puddle, went up on my balcony, was thinking about jumping, and then that reflection came into my mind, and I sat down on my balcony in the rain and wrote Hate in the Puddle. So that's how Hate in the Puddle came to be. But, it didn't completely deliver me from that mindset and that way of thinking, because I still was depressed. I still was going through all of these things. And I was really looking at, life and death as total opposites. Now, in reality, looking back and dissecting these songs, I'm seeing that the things I was saying about life and the things I was saying about death and the way that I end the song is one of those things where, a lot of people that are artists and that are poets even, and people that believe that they are divinely inspired, a lot of times we don't know exactly what we're writing when we're writing it. It might take us some time to completely understand. Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate that, man. It might take us some time to completely understand exactly what we were inspired to write, or we may not completely, we might understand what the meaning is, but we may not be living the meaning at the time. And this is one of the things about my writing that always happens, is there are times that I'm not necessarily living exactly what I'm writing, or, taking my own advice per se, or truly understanding what I'm writing. And this was one of those songs where, looking back on it now, I'm seeing how the song ends, and it's like, this is how I am gonna, how I've been living. Like, this song was probably the catalyst to that in the time that I wrote it. This song was probably the catalyst to the way that I live my life in general. And, so we'll get to the ending and I'll explain what I mean by that. But yeah, so, this one shouldn't take too long. The verses are pretty short, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so we're going to get into these lyrics. I really like this song. And I'm going to actually do a little lyric, dissection and breakdown as well. Let's see. I'm just reading Unicron's quote. You mean to tell me that while I was going through my bouts of depression, especially in my relationships at those times, my big ma, so grandmother maybe, transitioning, one of my hometown heroes was going through it too. Yeah, it was, man. You're never alone. That's one of the reasons that I write the way that I write and the things that I write, and why I'm not scared to put my emotions and feelings out there, because I believe that I've been given this gift to tell people and remind people that they're not alone, remind people that they're not the only ones going through certain situations. So yeah, man, you weren't alone, you know what I'm saying? And you're not alone even now, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, let's dive into these lyrics. And I'm going to break these down. And, yeah, we're going to see, see what it do. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Verse 1, live to die. All right. Agony and tragic realizations, tainted relations Agony and tragic realizations, tainted relations assembled atop a quicksand foundation, no preparation for the prosperity sinking. Innovation is thinking, triggering success, igniting the fuse of stress, heartache and heartbreak, emotional displacement, hopeful disappointment trapped within this physical encasement, a delusional ointment, massaged into the minds of those who find existence frozen time, accompanied by loads of pain, inevitable ending, laced with an unknown destination. Excessive fear is the undertow of situational patience. Religious limbo where consequence awaits every action. Prescriptions given by civilians to keep mental planes from crashing. Inhale for coping fashion. Shoot up for some relief. Guzzle to gain confidence. Roll trees to escape this nonsense. Live to die. To survive has never been achieved. I love life, so I guess I'm a masochist that can't wait to leave. So that's verse 1, a live to die. Now, verse 1 was the verse about life. Verse 1 is the verse where I'm talking about how I feel about life and the way that life is, how I feel that life is, how my life is going, how everything is developing around me and how it's a painful process to be going with it. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. And I'm glad I could be, a vessel to help you through some things. But going through the verse. So to start out, agony and tragic realizations. So I'm talking about life, and it's so dark and dismal, and I'm not in this place anymore, thank God. But and I still get down here and there, but definitely not to this level. But agony and tragic realizations, tainted relations assembled atop a quicksand foundation, no preparation for the prosperity sinking. Innovation is thinking, triggering success, igniting the fuse of stress. So I'm talking about life and the things that we go through in life. When we go through life, everything isn't this way. And, honestly, you can look at this verse as really both sides of life. But in my life at the time, this is what I felt that it was. And it was, I was going through a lot of darkness. So going through life, you deal with agony. You deal with, tragic realizations of things you start to understand about life as you grow up and get older. Life isn't as simple as you thought it was when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to start adulting. And things aren't easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not fun. Life is not like the fun thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, living life and being grown up. It's not fun and exciting. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a kid and being carefree and, not really having responsibilities to worry about. Those are the things that, we as human beings think are going to last forever when we're children. And, adults always tell us, life isn't always going to, be all hunky-dory. It's not all flowers and rainbows. You know what I'm saying? And then we go to the next line. Tainted relations assembled atop a quicksand foundation. At this time also, prior to this, I had also lost a lot of friends. And this is, talking about that tainted relationships assembled atop a quicksand foundation. So if you're, and I say that with most of the friends that I have today, except a few, are friends that I've known for 20 plus years. And we have a foundation of friendship. We have shared experiences. We have shared tragedies. We have shared triumphs. And that's one of the reasons that the friendships that I have, like my friendship with Print, like my friendship with a couple other people, Aaron Evans, people that I've been around for 20 plus years, this is why we are still friends and we can still be in each other's, corner, even when we have disagreements and even when we're not, we don't like each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? So tainted relations assembled atop a quicksand foundation. No preparation for the prosperity sinking. For me, Unfortunately, like in the time, I was thinking that I wasn't prepared for a lot of the stuff that I was going through. And looking back on it, the only way that I made it through was that I was prepared for the things that I was going through. I didn't know it. I didn't know that I was prepared for the things that were happening to me at the time, this darkness that I was feeling. But, being raised with, heavy faith, having a praying mother, having a praying grandmother, praying family, I was prepared, unbeknownst to myself, I was prepared to go through this. But at the time, I didn't realize that I was. So no preparation for the prosperity sinking. Innovation is thinking. Triggering success. Igniting the fuse of stress. So, it's the more money, more problems situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you innovate, you think, you get successful, but then the problems come. More money, more problems. That's what Big was talking about, but this was my own, way to say it. And then we go into the, more of the relationships. And this was dealing with women, dealing with my father, dealing with most of the relationships that I was dealing with at the time, other than a few, where these next lines come in. So after triggering success, igniting the fuse of stress, heartache and heartbreak, emotional displacement, hopeful disappointment, trapped within this physical encasement. So you're hoping that you won't have these heartaches and heartbreaks. You won't have this emotional displacement. You won't have these things that take you out of, being happy and being solid with everything that you're going through. You hope that this disappointment won't come to pass, but it always does. And for me, it always did. Everything that I was going through, it felt like time after time, there was always something that was disappointing me. There was always something that was letting me down. My father let me down. My girlfriend broke up with me and cheated on me and let me down. Like I was dealing with all of these things that was letting me down. So I felt like life was against me. Hence why I'm looking at life in this negative light. So hopeful disappointment trapped within this physical encasement, a delusional ointment, massaged into the minds of those who find existence froze in time, accompanied by loads of pain. So the thought that, life is going to be perfect is delusional. And this is just reality. This isn't about any depression. This isn't about anything. Life isn't always going to be perfect. Things that you go through aren't always going to be perfect. And, it took me a while to really get to a point where I understood that, life isn't always going to be perfect. Now, I didn't think life was perfect because I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I grew up in the hood. I grew up, not with a lot of money as a child, but, I was happy. I was taken care of. I didn't want for anything. But for some reason, my depression, in my depressed mind and in my depressed state, I just saw everything as negative. Even the positive stuff, I didn't look at it as positive all the time, because with other positive things that were in my life, they always ended up turning negative. So what up, Eric? What up, T Gates? So they always end up turning negative. So I never really took on the fact that life could be a good thing. I did when I was young, because I had a really pretty happy childhood for the most part. I was kind of depressed when I was young as well, but for the most part, I had a little more, of both sides. And this delusional ointment massaged into the minds of those who find existence frozen time, accompanied by loads of pain. This is what I felt, and this is what I felt that from the age of 13, really going forward, I kind of had this darkness and felt like this dark cloud was hovering above me, and that I couldn't shake it. Even though, I was a great track runner, I had girls that liked me, I still felt like something was missing, and that I was never good enough. So, massaged into the minds of those who find existence frozen time, accompanied by loads of pain, inevitable ending. Life, it's inevitable. We're going to die. Nobody lives forever. We're going to die. You know what I'm saying? Nobody lives forever. So inevitable ending, laced with an unknown destination. So you don't know what happens after you die. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of depressing. I mean, for me, it was kind of depressing to think that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, inevitable ending. I know I'm going to die, and I have no idea what's going to happen to me after I die. And in this time too, being a Christian man, my faith was kind of shaken as well, because I felt like, if God loved me, why was I going through the things that I was going through? Why, as a child of God and someone who believes, why would you put me through what you put me through? But also understanding that without going through those things, I wouldn't be here and be the man that I am today. So I believe that there was always a purpose for what I was going through. But in the time, I didn't feel like that purpose was, I didn't understand what that purpose was. So inevitable ending, laced with an unknown destination. Excessive fear is the undertow of situational patience. Religious limbo, talking about my religion, religious limbo where consequence awaits every action. It always feels like this is one of the things that I think turns people off to Christianity when they're, especially back then, because there was a lot of, teaching about you're going to hell. If you do this, you're going to hell. Everything you do, you're going to hell. If you do anything that, you enjoy, you're going to hell. That's what it felt like to us. So, religious limbo where consequence awaits every action. Prescriptions given by civilians to keep mental planes from crashing. So also at this time, if you remember in previous conversations about certain songs, I had, I used to have horrible migraines and other, bouts with pain. So I was prescribed Percocet, and I ended up getting somewhat addicted to Percocet. And even though doctors are doctors, they're still civilians. They're still just regular people. They're not, they're authority on medicine, yeah, but they're still regular people. But at the same time, once I got addicted, I started to go to, find people that would sell me pills. So this is where, prescriptions given by civilians to keep mental planes from crashing. And this goes into all of the drug, issues. Inhale for coping fashion. This inhale for coping fashion was me smoking cigarettes. Shoot up for some relief. Now, I wasn't shooting up, but I was just talking about life in general and, how I looked at it and how it was affecting the world around me and the people around me. Let's see. I Am Wax said, I got turned off by Christians because it's like everything you do will give you a ticket to hell. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. But okay, so I wasn't shooting up anything. One of the things my mom told me, because when she was younger, she was kind of wild, and she did some drugs herself, and she told me, to never, put anything up your nose or up your arm. You know what I'm saying? If it don't come from the earth, don't mess with it. So I basically, before I got out of college, I really didn't drink that much, and I smoked tobacco and I smoked weed and I took mushrooms and stuff like that. So all the stuff that I took was somewhat natural, it was processed, of course, as far as the cigarettes, you know what I mean? But that's one of the things of advice my mother gave me. But these are all talking about drugs and ways that we cope with life, the ways that we cope with the pain that we go through. So, prescriptions given by civilians to keep mental planes from crashing, whether you're going to a dealer that gets you pills or whether you're going to a doctor that gives you pills. We have all these prescriptions, all these medications that are used in society, and some necessary, some not so necessary. But, part of the reason that we have the opioid crisis and other things is because we're overprescribed as a nation, as a world, with medication. So prescriptions given by civilians to keep mental planes from crashing, inhale for coping fashion, shoot up for some relief, guzzle to gain confidence, drinking. I wasn't drinking heavily, but I started to drink a little more heavily once I started touring, and that's a whole nother conversation. But guzzle to gain confidence, roll trees to escape this nonsense, live to die to survive has never been achieved. So this is going back to, the inevitable ending. Live to die to survive has never been achieved. We live for a certain amount of time and then we die. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I love life, so I guess I'm a masochist that can't wait to leave, because all of these bad things happen. All of these bad things are happening in my life and happen in life in general. And I don't want to die, but I want to go. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to go, but I love life. So I feel like I'm inflicting pain on myself because I'm not leaving. You know what I'm saying? And it was a wild concept to think of, as I was looking back on this, the way that I worded certain things, I love life, so I guess I'm a masochist that can't wait to leave. You know, like really looking at this, I was down there, bro. I was down there. So that's the end of that verse. Now, I'm gonna do a couple things different this time. So looking at this lyrically, just as an MC, just as lyrics, I love the patterning of both of these verses. The rhyme schemes, agony and tragic realizations, tainted relations, assembled atop a quicksand foundation. The rhyming of, realizations, relations, foundation. And then no preparation for the prosperity sinking. Innovation is thinking, triggering success, igniting the fuse of stress. So the rhyming of foundation with preparation and then going to sinking. Innovation is thinking, triggering success. That's a different rhyme there. Igniting the fuse of stress. And rhymes like that go throughout. And like I said, this is one of my favorite rhymes on this record where I feel like the MC in me was, even through my depression, like the MC in me was really having fun with this. Heartache and heartbreak, emotional displacement, hopeful disappointment, trapped within this physical encasement, a delusional ointment. So displacement and encasement rhyme, and disappointment and ointment rhyme. So I was taking, liberty with where the rhymes would land. And one of the things about my style, or, throughout the years, the styles that I've used, I enjoy listening to artists where you have to kind of follow them and see exactly, and pay attention, because you don't know where the rhyme is going to land. Now, regular 4/4 rhyming is cool. I do that too. But the fun stuff is when you can find different places, different grooves in the beat where you can land rhymes and land rhyme scheme. And it's really dope. I enjoy that part. So massaged into the minds of those who find existence froze. So massaged into the minds of those who find existence froze. Those froze, minds find time accompanied by loads of pain. So like, I just love this rhyme so much. You know what I'm saying? Massaged into the minds. So minds find time. And then those froze and loads, and then pain doesn't rhyme with anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I really enjoyed writing this. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed writing this. But I'm not gonna break the whole thing down like that. But just listening to an MC, an artist like myself, or cats that are fans of like an Aesop, even Print, listen to. Because there's a reason that your head nods with us. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy Sandman does it as well. Finding places to fit rhymes. And if you're an MC yourself, like, experiment with where the rhyme lands. Experiment with how you adapt to the beat and where, because you don't have to rhyme at all, really. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. As long as it's rhythmic and it flows and it fits, then it can work. But the rhyming just, gives it a little something special throughout. But but that's enough for, me talking about how dope my writing is. Man. So that's first verse. So let's go to the second verse. Now the second verse, of course, I'm talking about, what I was thinking about death. You know what I'm saying? How I thought about death at the time. And in this verse, I'm talking about death in a positive light. So here we go. Second verse. Painless, no struggle for survival. Sipping from silver streams where dreams are now pedestrians, tangible happiness. Driven by fantasy interaction, lacking flesh restriction. Angels the crowds compelled while ripping. A venue where souls listen. The gardens are stages. A vast field of wildflowers is styles tower from pages. Clouds are pedestals with pools of words to swim through. Drowning is bliss, destiny sealed with a kiss. Walking with love and contentment hand in hand. Upon streets of golden sand, encountering lost family and friends. Hardship is a pastime that capsized. The entrapment of lies abolished. Everyone has a marble platform polished by the hands of celestials in heavenly cotton balls where we can stand for lifetimes not threatened by a fall. Thoughts remain pure, no tainted speech. We speak with emotions in a paradise that doesn't cease. So, verse 2, the verse about death, and looking at death, the positives in death. Painless, no struggle for survival. After you die, there's no more pain. This is one of the things that, if you hear a lot of people, and this second verse is deeply based in my Christian beliefs because I'm talking about heaven. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about what I think heaven is. And that's what I was looking at death as me going to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that I would go there. And, death was heaven, life was hell, basically. So painless, no struggle for survival. When when somebody that you're close with is hurting, has a disease, is going through something painful, and once they pass on, as much as you want them to stay, after they pass on, as a lot of people say, they're not suffering anymore. You know what I'm saying? They're no longer suffering. They're no longer, dealing with this life that has given them so much pain. When my grandmother, she passed away, she had colon cancer. And, those last months, she was in a lot of pain. She, was going through chemo and all this stuff, and the stuff wasn't working. And she was kind of deteriorating in front of our eyes. And, as much as we wanted her to stay, when she finally did pass on, it was more of a relief that she wasn't going through that pain anymore. So, painless, no struggle for survival. Sipping from silver streams where dreams are now pedestrians. So I'm looking at heaven. In the Bible, I'm thinking of all the things in the Bible that I read about, that I read about what the Bible kind of says, heaven looks like and what we have waiting for us. Streets of gold, fountains, all that stuff. So sipping from silver streams where dreams are now pedestrians, tangible happiness, driven by fantasy interaction, lacking flesh restriction. So my body's not there anymore. Angels the crowds compiled while ripping, a venue where souls listen. One of the things, and this is, this would be heaven on earth for me, and it has become that in a way. A venue where souls listen. When I write, and when I, write a poem, when I write a song, sometimes I'm writing just to be fly, to let you know how dope of a rapper that I am. But most of my songs, most of my content that I've created, I'm trying to speak to your soul. I'm trying to speak to your heart. I'm trying to speak to you as a human being, and hopefully, what the music that I give you allows you to be a better person. My experiences and, just some of my thoughts and some of my philosophies on life, hopefully they are edifying to the people that are listening to them. And this is one of those things that, I feel like in heaven, I'll still get to rhyme. I'll still get to spit. You know what I'm saying? I'll still get to, and it'll just be pure energy listening to me. It'll be pure souls listening to me. So lacking flesh restriction, bodies gone. Angels the crowds compile while ripping. A venue where souls listen. The gardens are stages. A vast field of wildflowers is styles tower from pages. So I'm just thinking like, Cass is up there just styling on them. You know what I'm saying? We got, Dilla on the beat. We got, Rash G on the beat. We got, you know what I'm saying? Like we got some of the illest beats, and Cass is just up there styling. Nobody worrying about being fly. Nobody worrying about how much money you got, because everybody up here is on an equal plane, and everybody is, pure light, pure energy, pure soul. You know what I mean? So this is just the MC thought of what, after if I was to die, what my heaven would be like. So a venue where souls listen. The gardens are stages. A vast field of wildflowers is styles. Tower from pages. Clouds are pedestals with pools of words to swim through. Drowning is bliss. destiny sealed with a kiss. So you're already where you're going to be. You know what I'm saying? Walking with love and contentment hand in hand upon streets of golden sand. So, you know, in the Bible, it talks about streets of gold in heaven. And this was just my way of, you know, saying that. Upon streets of golden sand, encountering lost family and friends. Hardship is a pastime that capsizes. It says also in the Bible that, you know, in heaven, there's no more pain. There's no more sorrow. There's no more anything negative that you have to deal with. This is continued bliss and happiness. You know what I'm saying? So drowning is bliss, destiny sealed with a kiss. Walking with love and contentment hand in hand. Upon streets of golden sand, encountering lost family and friends. Hardship is a pastime that capsized. The entrapment of lies abolished. Everyone has a marble platform polished by the hands of celestials and heavenly cotton balls where we can stand for lifetimes, not threatened by a fall. Thoughts remain pure, no tainted speech. We speak with emotions in a paradise that doesn't cease. So, all of this is pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. You know, hardship is a pastime that capsizes. The entrapment of lies abolished. Everyone has a marble platform polished. So anything that you want to do basically in your life and with your life, which, you know, in your death, you can. Thoughts remain pure, no tainted speech. We speak with emotions in a paradise that doesn't cease. Now, going into the hook, because this is the hook. I'll say the hook. Life can be a setback and death can be progression. Life can be a burden and death can be release. Life can be a problem and death can be a solution. If your life is death, there can be nothing left but increase. Now, for the hook, crazy enough, I didn't completely, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I was talking about as far as the ending of the song, where it kind of speaks to me a lot more now. And looking back on my life, I'm starting to understand that this song may have been a catalyst for some change in my life and how I started to live my life. So, you know, it's basically kind of mirroring the verses. Life can be a setback, you know, all the negative stuff I said about life, and death can be progression. Life can be a burden and death can be a release. Life can be a problem and death can be the solution. Now, here is where, you know, I kind of turned the tables and tied on myself. I don't know what that noise is, but here is where I kind of turned the tides and on what I was talking about. Because when I say, if your life is death, there can be nothing left but increase. There's a saying about, you know, dying a little every day. You know what I'm saying? And I tend to look at this last line is talking about leaving the past behind, letting things die so you can continue to move on. And if you look at your life in the way that I was looking at death here, then there's nothing that will be impossible for you. There's no way that you can go through your life if you're living with those things on your mind and you're looking at life not necessarily with rose-colored glasses, but understanding that the things that I talked about that are so negative with life and the things that I talked about that are so positive with death, those things that you can have in death, you can have in life if you look at life in a certain way. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Change is the only constant, pun intended. But you can't always look at things on the dark side. Everything isn't negative. Everything, even you may have a stint of bad shit that happens to you. We all go through those lulls in life. Even rich people, even people that look like on the outside they got everything together. They don't. Their life ain't perfect. They have some things that go wrong. But it's about keeping your mind clean and looking towards the horizon as opposed to always looking back towards the desert. You have to be able to let the bad things die so you can live. And this is something that I've I started to live my life this way probably, after I released this album and after I started to grow into the man that I was growing into be, the man that I was supposed to be. I started to realize that, okay, yeah, I've had some messed up things happen to me from my childhood on up to where I was at that point, but I can't let that dictate where I was going. I had to be strong enough and willing to allow the good things to happen, to not dwell on the bad so much that I missed the good. So I started to look for the good. And, sometimes I think people that are close to me don't necessarily understand all the time how I can be so positive about life. And I usually tell them it's because I was so negative about life at one point in my life. And I realized how blessed I am to be living here. When I was a baby, I had cancer in my right eye when I was 2 years old. And my mother found it by putting a lollipop in front of my face because she saw that my eye was cloudy. And, she was just kind of, checking on me. So she put a lollipop in front of me and covered my left eye, and I didn't reach for it. And she had the same lollipop and covered my right eye, and I reached for it. Then she took me to the doctor. Come to find out that I had a retinoblastoma, which is a 1 in a million type of cancer. And the doctor told her if she would have waited any longer, I would have been dead in days because it was spreading from my retina to my brain. So that has happened to me in my life. When I was young, I was dancing and running around outside, and I fell, and I was running with a stick. What up, RTO? I was running around with a stick, and the stick I fell, and it pierced my neck and almost ripped my vocal cords. And if that would have happened, I wouldn't have had the voice that I've developed. There's so many things that have happened to me in my life, and I could continue to go on with things that have happened to me. But the fact that I'm still here and I didn't lose my voice. Actually, my voice became so much stronger. I feel like I was blessed and led. God had a plan for me. I was supposed to be here to use my voice, and something was trying to take that voice away from me. It's been trying to take me out, in the womb. When my mother was pregnant with me, when she was giving birth to me, every time she would have a contraction, my heart rate would go down. And the doctors saw that my umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck. So when she was trying to give birth to me, every time she'd have a contraction, it was basically suffocating me and trying to kill me. There's so many things that have tried to take me out. And, even dealing with my mindset about myself and wanting to take myself out. And really understanding that, I'm here to fulfill a purpose, and understanding that purpose is to be a voice to all of you, to be a voice for people that don't necessarily know how to communicate how they're feeling about certain things, that don't necessarily know how to communicate when they're feeling down, or when they're feeling up, don't necessarily know how to talk, but they can listen to one of my songs and be like, somebody gets me, somebody understands what I'm going through. And I'm understanding a lot more these days, and over the last probably 10 years or so, 10, 15 years of my life, that I am pretty blessed. No matter how dark some days get, I'm blessed to be here, and I'm blessed to be able to share my art and share my gift with you guys. So that's it. Beats and B-sides, deep dive, live to die. If you guys are still here and you weren't here earlier, before I put this out into the atmosphere tomorrow, this is active right now for everybody that is in Beats and B-sides that's in the chat, that's watching this. You can hit illogic.bandcamp.com. This is the Black Friday sale I'm having all this week. Sale ends on Sunday, but I'm not officially hitting it out, on the Twitters and the Instagrams to everybody till tomorrow. So you guys, if you want to get something, 50% off. Use code Black Friday or Black Fry 50, BLKFRI 50, and hit that up. And yeah, we only got about 50 or 60 of the Celestial vinyls left, but we have a whole bunch of stuff. We got shirts, CDs, Autopilot vinyl, Lucid Logic vinyl, all kind of stuff. So if you see something you want, even the packages for the Celestial, the vinyl packages, those are 50% off as well. So hit up IamIllogic.com, or I'm sorry, illogic.bandcamp.com, and use that code BLKFRI50 if you want to get something. But word, man. Word. So I really thank y'all for checking me out. I hope this was good, for you to hear. I hope it wasn't too dark and depressing. But I think we, brought the light out, eventually in the joint. But I appreciate everybody that has been checking these out. And with it being Thanksgiving, I was going to try to do 2 this week. But with it being Thanksgiving, not going to be able to do that. So next week, I'm going to do 2 streams. I'm going to stream on Monday as well as stream on probably Friday. So, yeah. And I will do Stand and My World next week. So be on the lookout. I appreciate you guys. We're almost to the end. I wish he would make me be the last joint, and then during that one I'll probably do a little talk about Say the Word, the bonus joint that's on the vinyl. But yeah, man, this has been fun. This has been cool. I appreciate y'all checking me out as usual. Remember, we got the Black Friday sale popping off, and you guys get first dibs, so hit that up, illogic.bandcamp.com. And yeah, if you haven't checked out any of the other deep dives, they're all on my YouTube page. Please like and subscribe to that joint. I am going to be moving strictly to YouTube, probably at the beginning of the new year. So if you do dig the stuff that I do and you go to my YouTube page and you like what's on there, please join so you can get notifications once I do make that switch. And yeah, man, we're going to keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Now that I got a lot of people in the chat, I want to ask this one question. Doing these breakdowns like this, as I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, doing these breakdowns like this, would y'all be interested in seeing me break down other people's songs, like songs of artists that I dig, and songs that have influenced me, and giving you my thoughts and what I think about, the lyrics and everything? Would y'all be interested in something like that? Let me know in the chat. And yeah, other than that, I appreciate y'all as usual. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving holiday if you celebrate that. Stay safe, enjoy your families, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, it's been fun. What up, Chad? I appreciate you joining, man. I didn't even know you was in here, you know what I mean? African Kodo, appreciate that. But I'm out, y'all. Again, we got that 50% off Black Friday sale that y'all get dibs on, so hit that up. And yeah, I'm out, y'all. Peace. Appreciate it.